Right, and we are off. So, intro, uh, pretty quick here. I'm not even gonna get into it much, except for the fact that no dash means that we have to bunny hop for extra speed, and pretty much it. FCRacers is already done with it. See, that quick. FCRacers is gonna wait for Mallix to catch up on these streams. So chapter 1, pretty cool stuff can happen here. It's mainly just a big display of what a runner's ability basically is. There's a lot of quick speed tech that you can see coming out from some runners. That spike jump over the jump over the spikes there is one of those that is optimized. You got a couple of pixels that you can get over those spikes there. Other than that, it's pretty tight. New stuff coming out from both of our runners. You're gonna see the same route come out from both these runners. The stage is pretty optimized, as there's no like gimmicks going on. Alex not getting the dash refresh, so not able to dash upward. FCRacers going for this skip, not going to get it. Opts to just head all the way back down. Gets it on the last room. It's chapter 1 done for them. Mallix doing the same thing here. Also gets it. Very nice first try. So chapter 2, as you can see, we have blocks here called dream blocks. You can dash through them, giving us a dash refresh and a dash in a specific direction until you leave the block. You're also able to jump and hyper out of them. So you can see our runners will be using the jump out of it to extend the distance that they can go out of the block. Then some runners you'll even see later on in chapter 7 doing hypers to get out of there. FCRacers getting the nice corner skip there, going through the block. Pretty tight, but the setup's very easy. All you gotta do is grab that corner, and you can just dash at that angle and get it every time. Some runners will opt to go the OG strat and not go for the setup. Looks really cool and pretty tight. FCRacers going for that setup to not have to climb that block or stay up there for the 3 seconds that Battlein follows you. Alex doing the same thing, both in the same room now. Pretty close race. FCRacers is going to the end of the dream sequence while Mallix is finishing up these switches. You see right there, FCRacers doing the jumping out of the dream blocks, and Mallix as well. Mallix didn't even have anything to jump in that section, so really good positioning on their part. Both runners are out of the dream sequence. Now all they have to do is reach the end of the stage, and that is chapter 2 complete. But here you'll be able to see some optimizations coming out from both runners. You'll normally see a hyper followed by a bunny hop followed by a uh, dash jump. That's pretty much the order of optimizations there, and that sequence of not having to jump off of a wall by not getting enough height from a hyper and maintaining speed the entire way. So chapter 3, of course, new mechanics coming out, and in my opinion is the hardest chapter outside chapter 7, 1500 meters. There's a lot of optimizations that have to come out between the runners to not only make cycle-based stuff in this chapter, but also keep a good pace at the same time. You saw there that Mallix decided to go for the hyper bunny hop there. It's just one way of making a stage just quicker overall. Mallix not getting the extended hyper off of this platform gets it that time. But every time you see one of these runners reset or retry or die, whatever you want to call it, the cycles are different by about a half cycle. So you need to really know. Very nice bird from FCRacers. You both need to know both the death cycle and the room entry cycle if you want to really get some optimizations. You saw there FCRacers waiting for the, I'm going to call it the retry cycle. Must be more comfortable with that than just YOLOing it, going for the diagonal jumps. Right, so we are on to the big mess sequence here for both runners. FCRacers just visually slightly ahead, but the timers of both runners, they both got there at about 6 minutes, so we're tied here, folks. FCRacers, no time at all getting through the first portion of the big mess. Hopefully we can see the same thing coming up from Mallix. You see Mallix going there for the reset of the cycles of that room. That's what I was talking about earlier. The reset cycles are different. So every single time you see that, you might see them go back and reset the cycles. It's about a half-second waste of time, but it could be definitely better than getting a cycle that either you don't want or not used to. FCRacers is finished with the second portion here. Mallix also on the second, I believe. FCRacers going in for the third and final portion of the big mess. I want to say the big skip, but that's definitely not what it is. Getting in there right underneath that dust bunny. Oh, FCRacers, the death there. Now he has to deal with this reset cycle. It's actually pretty forgiving, that cycle, because it's set up in such a way that you do it basically on the same cycle, just everything you do is slightly earlier than before. Mallix going to the same room, opts to go over the dust bunny, which is, I believe, the proper way to do that. Every room has a different strategy by different runners. You can argue that one strat is more optimal than the other, but there's no true verification of that unless you're trying to. You have everybody has a certain setup. Like TGH does a specific setup for lake skip, but someone else might do setup for lake skip differently. It doesn't waste any I believe TGH said that his costs a couple more frames than how everybody else does it, but his is more consistent for him, so that's just the way that it goes. FCRacers getting through this last room here before the Oshiro fight. Mallix going for this fast strat key. I believe he had some trouble with it. FCRacers now on the Oshiro fight. quote-unquote fight. All he does is dash across the screen at us, try to get us while we deal with these cycles of these dust bunnies. Good bunny hops there by FC. Keep his, Oh, that's the end of that room. Harsh. So, something I want to note here is the PBs between FCRacers and Mallix is actually very close. Both runners within, both under sub 40. Mallix slightly faster at a 36 minute 10-second EV, with FCRacers coming in at a 38:01. So within 2 minutes of each other. So big mess ups by Mallix could actually give FCRacers the advantage here. Mallix threw Chapter 2 almost at the same time that FCRacers is. I'm not sure how different the timer is. FCRacers coming in at a 10:12 time. Mallix just under that, I would say, like a 9:45. So FCRacers definitely has some time to make up here, but not unobtainable. Having a clean Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 could definitely make or break the race for both runners here. Switch the audio over to Mallix here because they are in the lead. Like Mallix is having a slight desync in audio, so I am going to switch it back to FCRacers. So Chapter 4 is interesting because we have this wind mechanic that gives us a change in speed, so much so that we either cannot move forward without a dash, or we're getting pushed forward to make the level. We skip a lot of the mechanics of a level. What you're seeing is FCRacers using a wave dash there to get past that rim that we saw very quickly. The same right there, not even having to hit the block. But from on Mallix's screen, you'll see the wind really take its toll. Whenever you see them hit this spring here and go upward, the amount that they're moving forward without the dash is pretty substantial. And even if you're trying to jump up a wall without momentum going forward, it actually slightly pushes you back. So when you get to the top of a wall, you either have to climb it, or you have to get pretty lucky on your jump to get high enough to even go hit the wall. Or else you could just not jump high enough. But Mallix through Chapter 4. FCRacers, I believe, starting the last portion of Chapter 4 here, about 2 screens into it. Chapter 5 is probably execution-wise my favorite chapter to watch, because you'll see these momentum-based blocks that we can take advantage of, as well as the secret portion optimizations are really cool to experience. So, like, for example, one of the optimizations right there that from Mallix is a pretty cool sequence, jumping on the movement block to get it to come down, then having to, shortly after that, jumping off of it to go through that skip is pretty sick. FCRacers is now complete, has completed Chapter 4. Good momentum use there by Mallix. You can see the skip having to go upward from that block there on Mallix's screen as well. FCRacers now into Chapter 5. Not all that far behind, can still catch up. Mallix is having a very clean Chapter 5 though so far. The beginning portion, there's not too many things that you can really mess up on. The skip that FCRacers just did first try is one of those that could give you a hard time, but our racers are experienced enough in their PBs that they're not going to give them a hard time. Mallix here activating the mirror. So I would say that FCRacers is probably behind by a good like minute and a half. Not really too big to overcome. Series is going for that boost just that Mallix also did. You have a very short time to downward dash on that block that you stand on, and then jump, because one, that's not something that they really intend for you to stand on. They don't even give you that much room to begin with, and second off, it's just a good use of momentum coming off of that block. So Mallix in here, in the, I'm gonna call it the nightmare sequence. After the Seeker has eaten us, we enter our own minds, and we're now gonna be trying to escape the Mirror Temple. Is it our minds or is it inside the mirror? I'm not sure, but the way that Battlein in the story tries to explain it is that she's trying to protect us from ourselves, so that makes me think that we are in our own heads. But nonetheless, FCRacer on the Seeker portion, making this look very simple. So Mallix in one of those rooms that has just a ton of switches. The Seeker is trying to really get to you. You're going to use it to bop that wall. And then we are going into the key skip portion here on Mallix's screen. Hopefully both these learners can get it first try, because it is a significant skip. Of course, first try from Mallix. FCRacers using the Seeker there to activate a switch. Definitely, they can definitely do that. The explosion and or the Seeker going over the switch allows you to activate it. So see there, FCRacers using the explosion from the Seeker. Unfortunately, dying a couple times here on this Seeker. This is one of those rooms that if you don't have the correct momentum coming into that room and you take a death, you're not really going to get the head jump off of the Seeker to proceed. Mallix into the Theo portion of the Mirror Temple. FCRacers is on one of the last rooms before the key skip. So managing momentum with Theo is a difficulty because you are unable to dash with Theo while holding Theo, but when you throw him, you are able to go at an angle such that you're able to catch Theo, maintain momentum, and then proceed. So you'll see Mallix right there using that to their advantage, not even having to throw Theo on the block, and then dash to catch him, and then you'll pick him up. All you had to do is just climb the wall. So Mallix is on this last screen for Theo. It's insane how good these runners are, because before I'm even done explaining something, they're just through with it. So FCRacers entering Theo will Mallix finishes it. So again, about a minute and a half, 2-minute time difference between these runners, consistent with what their PB times. So any mess ups that Mallix comes out with is gonna give FCRacers that chance to come back. But overall, both these racers are doing a fantastic job. I would really recommend following both runners, as they are experienced in their speed game. Mallix is 36th on the leaderboard, while FCRacer is 60th. And with the number of sub 40 times, they're among some of the better runners. So Mallix here in Chapter 6. Not going to go too much in the mechanics, but this is one of those levels that knowing screen transitions before you even get to them gives you a huge advantage. For the reason that, as you saw, Mallix just screen transitioning, knowing not to jump or not to do anything else going into that, gave them a big advantage, not hitting the spikes. Hey, FCRacers moving on to their section here or their Chapter 6. Right, so Mallix making pretty fast progress through Chapter 6 here. Should be coming up on the battle and fight any moment now. Still about a minute and a half, 2-minute gap between our racers. Mallix really not even giving FCRacers a chance to get back into this race. Pretty flawless gameplay coming out from them. But both players are pretty much playing lights out right now, aside from a few deaths from FCRacers at inopportune times. Both runners are playing very well. So Mallix gonna start chasing shadows right now, before the battle and fight, which is coming up after the screen transition, I believe. When I see taking a death there, after the screen transition is a water section, and then after that is the fight. So you'll see these developer intended skips coming out here in Mallix's screen. The water portion here is being taken slightly safely by Mallix for good reason. Here we see Mallix going for the battle and boost, gets it. That's always really cool to see, just the amount of speed that you're able to get from just that block. Series is going for this block skip there, pretty smooth. All you gotta do is diagonal dash downward, and believe you'll get through it. Or I guess hyper through it would be the way to do it. Unfortunately, FCRacers are taking a death on that this room. Interesting. FCRacers deciding on the downward path there. Mallix deciding on the upward path on the same room that FCRacers just went through, so... Mallix making pretty short work of these battling rooms. FCRacers chasing shadows now. Optimizations coming out from him that are pretty good. FCRacers deciding to go for the checkpoint there. They missed that third skip. They would have to restart at the top of the room, so just ensuring some safety there is a smart play. FCRacers gonna be going for the battle and boost, I'm assuming. Mallix on the second phase of the battle and fight. FCRacers getting stuck there, it's pretty unfortunate. So, there's really not much to go over right now. The fight rooms are pretty known as to the attacks of battle, and are just either launching death balls, I will refer to them as. You can see on FCRacers' screen, or you can see the laser coming out on Mallix's screen. Mallix on the last room here gets the kill. Gonna go talk to battle and gonna get our level up. And they are swiftly moving on to Chapter 7 here. Gotta climb up here, get the jump off of battling, and they will be done with Chapter 6. Mallix moving on to the summit, Chapter 7. 3,000 meter climb of the mountain, followed by 30 flags. Starting with Chapter 6's mechanics, preceded by 1 through 5 in the metered climb. Mallix has a slight delay in their audio. I can go ahead and switch it back. Maybe it's fixed. Yeah, the dashes aren't even coming out at the same time, but nonetheless. We can continue to use it. Not a big deal. Right, so FCRacers is on the second portion of the battle and fight as well. While Mallix is working their way through 500 meters now. Still a pretty close race. A bad summit could definitely cost Mallix some time here. But they have been playing lights out. So it's going to be very difficult for FCRacers to come back at this point. Right, Mallix done with the 500 meter portion, moving on to 1000 meters, Chapter 2 mechanics. Oh, my favorite mechanic coming in the dream block, just allowing for such smooth movement, while FCRacers finish Chapter 6, moving on to the summit as well. So, optional path here for Mallix, the speed intended route. Mallix going for some air dashes through that last room instead of hypers. Interesting choice. And done with that, onto my least favorite portion of this run, 1500 meters, chapter 3 mechanics. Going back to cycle-based gaming here. Can make for some interesting time losses if Mallix approaches these rooms in a poor manner, but looking very smooth right now. Not even a glitch in that room. Good cycle there. Going for some ultras there. Very quick work. FCRacers on the 500 meter section as well. Gonna be hopefully making quick work of this. Also, goodbye dog. It's a dog. Ooh, FCRacers missing that skip there. I don't know if restarting there would be the ideal thing. There is a double jump replenisher that he could have gotten back to, but nonetheless does take the retry, and it's totally okay. Maybe they're just used to it. No point in wasting time on a non-retry if you feel more comfortable going a different route. But nonetheless, Mallix now on the chapter 4 portion of here, 2,000 meters. Good save there from FCRacers. And quick work of that room as well. FCRacers going for some air dashes as well. FCRacers moving on to the 1500 meter section, chapter 3, while Mallix is finishing up 2000 meters, chapter 4. And Dawn moving on to 2500 meters, chapter 5. FCRacers having to deal with the mistiming of a dash, trying to recover it, but unable to do so. These rooms can be pretty demanding, given a mess up. Having to deal with it again, not getting it. Very clean movement there by Mallix. Very, very cool. Going for the skip here, gets it first try. I believe the setup for that room is none all that difficult, but I sometimes do have difficulty with it. Just two neutral jumps, but like you miss timing like a button press can happen. FCRacers going to Franker's Z room. Skip there by Mallix, going for the door skip right now, saving hours of time. Oh, messing it up. Opt to go for no door skip. Got the first one though. Mallix Now moving on to the 30 flag climb. Make very quick work of that first section. Now we're going to move on to the downward, the downdraft portion here. I'm always like confused at how they do this room there on the right side. That cloud is covering something. I still don't know what it is. But after a few attempts, gonna go for the intended route. Oh, skipping a flag there. Doesn't even matter, it gets to the flag at 23. Downdraft portion about to be finished here by Mallix. Completed, moving on to updraft. More floaty gravity here, gonna make for some pretty interesting flags. While FCRacers approaching the end of 2,000 meters here. And there he goes. I think the floaty stages in the summit are pretty neat. The way that summoners approach them are pretty cool. Good wave dash there by FCRacers. Also gonna go for the skip here. Gets it. Also the key. I thought he missed the key and hit the retry. That would have been unfortunate, but doesn't get it. Takes a death there on the spikes. No big deal. Early in the room. Well, Mallix making very good time on the summit here. Flying 6 at a sub 10 minutes. Pretty good time overall. Flag 5. FCRacers approaching the end of 2,500 meters here. And that is it. Gonna move on to the beginning of their 3,000 meter climb, 30 flags. Well, Mallix is in fact finishing up here. And that is GG for Mallix. See your GGs in chat. Mallix with a final time of 35 minutes, was that? No, that couldn't have been. Maybe. Yeah, they're going back and they're showing the title screen there for the version. A time of 35:42. That's what that said. Yep, 35:42 flat. GG's to them. Hey, FCRacers on the updraft portion here. Mallix, if you are interested in an interview, join the setup room and we'll get you in here. Hey, it looks like Mallix is gonna join us. Mallix, GG, friend.
Hello.
That was a very nice PB. 30
Yeah, it's
second PB.
almost 30 seconds. Yeah.
Very cool. FCRacers is on the final updraft portion here. So while he finishes up, we'll get your take on your run. So how do you feel about it overall?
I think it went pretty good. It is a PvP after all. I did really good in the early game, and then I made a lot of mistakes at Summit, but I still ended up with a pretty decent time.
Yeah, so I noticed that like you were playing pretty lights out like the entire way through except for the summit. Like 0 deaths, I believe, on a few stages.
I usually do better in Summit, but the nose got to me. When you're doing good, you sometimes make a lot of mistakes because you're just nervous. So I was shaking the second half of Summit.
Yeah, wait, did you have your like live split up or anything? Like looking at your splits?
No, I didn't. I was just looking at the in-game timer sometimes.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I would have been curious to see like if your live split you were like getting just straight golds because like your flawless play was really impressive to watch.
Yeah, thank you.
But FCRacers actually finishing here. Let's see, final time is a 39:08. It looks like.
He's finishing in a pretty good time too.
Yeah, it's like under 30 seconds from their PB or over 30 seconds from their PB. So
yeah.
GG's. Yeah, we'll get him in here as well. Hello, FCRacer. Are you here? But yeah, yeah. As soon as I saw that you got your PB, Mallix, I saw like you immediately go back to the versioning screen because of our rules for PBs.
Exactly.
I was like,
I didn't hesitate 1 second.
I saw his time on the screen. And I was like, oh, this has to be a PB. He has to go back for it. But yeah.
Hello.
Hello, GG.
Yeah, GG. I was hearing PB there from Mallix. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yep,
30 seconds.
30-second PB. Yep. So let me get your take on the race, FC. How do you feel that it went? Hello? Technical difficulty maybe. So anything that oh yeah, you're good. I just wanted to get your take on the race.
Yeah, sorry. I use my web browser for Discord, so I accidentally maximized another window. But anyway, my PB is 3801, and I've been averaging around this time like for the past 2 weeks. So I'm sort of pleased with the run. There were some hangups on 1500, the first long room. I completely forgot how to deal with the cycle, and I was stubborn and was like, I'll just go deal with it. It's like, nope.
Yeah, I saw that you were like up dashing on towards the end there to try to avoid the ball.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't going to make it, and then I was just like, well, I don't know what to do here. And I think what happened initially is that when I went for it, I didn't fall off the edge like I normally do. So I was just like, I don't know how to deal with the situation.
Right.
3000 was okay. I made a few mistakes towards the end. I was trying to go a little too hard in the paint on flag 4 and made some mistakes there, but I was happy I got the skip and key. The key skip in chapter 3 first try, you know, the 4 hypers. I was glad I got that. I got a sub 4 in bridge. It wasn't PB, but I was still pleased with that. I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty good. I kind of woke up this morning and like all my confidence was gone. To be quite honest.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was super pumped last night, and I was like, it's gonna be a close race. We're gonna do this, and then I woke up, and it was just like my confidence just left a note, like, "See you later, bye." So I tried to shake it off and do the best that I can, but either way, Mallix put on a fantastic performance. I felt that even if I were to have won this race, I think I still would have not made it into bracket due to tiebreakers. So
Okay.
I think that kind of was like just egging on my mind. But overall, it was pretty good, and a great experience overall. And I mean, I made a lot of good progress on my personal best. So
Great. A couple of things to note where the like, I don't know like if you were trying to chase Mallix like the whole race, because like there were a few times where like in a few rooms that a couple deaths did come out where I was just like, I don't know if that was just like nerves or something like that, or if he's like trying to chase after Mallix, but
yeah, I did feel a little bit of pressure in some of those areas, but also, unlike I know in reflection, I have a really bad habit of forgetting what room is coming up.
yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's this room, and I'm like, oh, it's not this room, and then like I either quickly try to adjust or I die. So no, I definitely felt
Gotcha.
the pressure. I mean, I noticed I was taking like a little bit of breaks here and there, especially going in, I think, to reflection and for summit. I kind of stopped and like tried to gather my bearings to make it go.
Yeah, the mental portion of this game is hard if you, especially when like you forget some of those rooms. You're just like, I like hypered into the room when I should have just like wave dash or something.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Especially in reflection, because there's a lot of like
Yes.
key points where you have to transition like
Yep.
the right way.
But yeah, do you guys have any closing thoughts, starting with Mallix, on what's going on?
Not sure if my runs validated because I didn't perform door skip, so I don't know if I can submit this, but we'll see.
It is thousands of hours lost, unfortunately, there.
Exactly. But I think maybe I'll move on to something. I made my goal, which was sub 36, so I think I might move on to all hearts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh,
At least after
cool.
the tournament, maybe. I'll still practice any percent, but I made my goal, so that's nice.
So are you for sure in the bracket?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah, I think for our group it's going to be Green, David Eku, Mallix, Lucindus, and Black Pair are going to be the four that are going to move forward.
Oh, very neat. Yeah, FC, you got any closing thoughts?
Overall, I mean, this is a great experience. I'm very new to speedrunning, so especially like being put in a tournament setting, and it's been a lot of fun. We're supposed
Is
to
this your
have
first speed game?
kind of, sorta. I did Gunman Clive very briefly, but this is like the first game that I really like sunk my teeth into and was really trying to do the best that I could at it. So
Okay. Yeah, that's. But did you like pick this up after the GDQ run, or did you like were you playing
No.
it and you're just like, oh man, this community is great?
So I did a playthrough of it back when it came out, and then I decided to start learning to speedrun it, I think back in March or April. One of my friends was like, oh, you should watch TGH because he's speedrunning this game. And that was like the super inspiration to be like, I think I can do this. Let me see what
Right.
I can do. So I'd also like to give a shout out to everybody at Speed Gaming and all the admins that are running this tournament, Ben TZ, and all those wonderful people. They put on a great job, especially like herding all of us around for these past couple of weeks. I'm going to call it right now, and I'm going to say that Black Perry is going to upset somebody in this tournament. I'm going to say that right now,
Yeah.
and I can't wait. No, because like Black
Yes.
Perry started at a 45, and if I'm not mistaken, he's at a 36 or 35 right now.
He's a low 36, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, that's
wow,
just
so that's
crazy.
that's a heck of an improvement.
Yeah.
Huge improvement, yeah.
I guess also watch my races if you're looking for nail biting stuff, because I had some very close ones with both Black Parrot and Lucindus, and like I still watch them because they're very entertaining to watch.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, everybody should just follow these runners. They put on a really good race.
Everybody should be following you, man. You did a great job.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun commentating races, especially when they're like nail biters like this. Like you guys were like dead even going into chapter 2, ending chapter 2. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is hype. So when it's like that, it's pretty easy to do.
Oh yeah.
But
I
nonetheless,
definitely look back at it.
give Speed Gaming a follow. There is another Celeste run on this channel coming up. Give our runners a follow, and yeah, that's gonna be it for me.
And thank
stay
you for
tuned.
commentating.
Oh, you're so welcome. But yeah, any last words before I close this out?
No, good luck in the bracket, Mallix, and everybody from Eye of the Storm, and I'll be rooting you guys on.
Thank you.